everyone. I'm Steve here with Jesse Townsend. Jesse's at Parkway Athletic Club in Reno, Nevada, where he's a personal trainer. Thanks for being with us, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
Let's discuss workout splits. Let's specifically get into a 4-day split. So I used to be a trainer. That was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. So correct me if things have changed, but a 4-day split is 4 days. That's what the 4-day split represents. 4 days we're going to train, and the split means we're going to do at least 2 different workouts in those 4 days. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. That is what it is.
Okay, so let's talk on this little episode here. Let's talk about a 4-day split. So usually a 4-day split is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you're going to go, it doesn't have to be those days, but you're going to go 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on. So what are your first thoughts about when would someone begin to go into a 4-day split? Is this a beginner going into an intermediate type lifter? Who would do this?
Yeah, a 4-day split, man, to make that question of who would go into it pretty simple. That's 4 days in the way that we're lining it up on that split. That's probably intermediate level, or close to it, right? I think what I classify or help people understand if they're on beginner is probably we're doing a 3-day. They're going to put in about 3 workout days in a week to start with. That's what I find works. And again, there's some variances and exceptions to all these rules with ages and specific needs based on, maybe things that are going on with the body that are causing pain or issues, et cetera. But I would put that probably into, beginner transitioning into that intermediate category for that.
Right now, you could be doing a 3-day split, and you could be an extremely advanced lifter, a power lifter. Sure. Power lifters are usually on 3-day splits.
Yep.
So, but the split part, just to let everyone know the difference between a 3-day workout and a 3-day split, a really advanced lifter like a power lifter is usually going to be on a 3-day split, but the beginner is on a 3-day workout. It's not a 3-day split. It's a 3-day workout because you're working all of your body parts Monday, Wednesday, and Friday usually, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So there is that was my point in saying, there's always exceptions, and that's what makes these straight answers with all this fitness stuff a little bit difficult, right? In ways because of what we're saying. Yeah. Power lifters, they're going to be aggressively, lifting, heavy weight and doing, movements that are helping them gain strength. And they're going to do it with more recovery and downtime, so they're going to do a few heavy days like we're talking about a week, provided that there's probably, 1 day on or 2 days on with a day off. They're probably not doing more than 2 days in a row of heavy lifting or resistance. And then again, they're hitting and following up with 1 more day. That's probably your average power lifter. But yeah, so on that 4-day split for people, if that's what you're going to run, the muscle groups and how you break that down probably is the next part of this too, right? And so that's the common stuff. Yeah. I hear people always ask me at first is, okay, Jesse, so I've heard, your information now, and, I understand kind of how to get into this process. Like, now what do I do? Right. So is the next part that is the important part. So
let me ask you, Jesse, so how would you break the body into body parts for a 4-day split? There's more than one way to do it, but how would someone who's just moving into this give us one idea of how you would split up the body, the exercises you would do on Monday and Thursday, and then the body parts you would do on Tuesday and Friday?
Yeah, so I think one of the easier ones to start with that makes a lot of sense for most people on this 4-day split is posterior, anterior, right? And so, especially for people that are trying to, do more, again, like on a 4-day, a couple or a few solid muscle groups, that posterior, anterior, and then rotate back, to posterior and anterior, right? So 2 days, let's say, like you said, Monday, Tuesday, maybe you're on. And I would probably do it like this, by the way, on the days on. I'd probably do 2 on, a break if possible, depending on schedule, right? And then 2 more days on for the 4 if they could. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, weekend off. Does that make sense? So
yeah, but what explain to everybody posterior and so on. Give us a few examples of what exercises those would be.
Yeah. So for example, like the posterior day, rotate and go through, let's call it, hamstrings, probably the main ones to start with. So hamstrings, glutes, and then you've got back, if you want to just back up as one group in that process, and put back of shoulders in there too, right? So that posterior deltoid at the top of your back of your shoulder, and with the back, of course, that's a little bit of trap work, from the top down, even a little bit of trap work, posterior delts. You got your lats, you got rhomboids, bunch of other muscles that we don't really need to go through, and then glutes, hamstrings, and that's good enough. That's plenty of lifts, and you probably do for each one to start with. Maybe you get like 2 lifts in for each one that I just mentioned. Total lifts, you might be somewhere between that, like 5 and 8 category for different lifts that you do in that day. And again, the set breakdowns and the rep breakdowns, that's a whole another part of that too. But for now, we'll go with that. And then on the anterior, just the opposite, right? So from the top down, and on that posterior, triceps, right? They're going to be in that posterior as well. Anterior, so you'd start again, top down. So chest, biceps, and then you got your quads, for the main one there. Core, probably we'd wrap into that. You could really do core on both, days if you'd like to. That's how I implement most programs, actually, is I'll have people do more core, especially at any part of their program, really. But in the beginning is super important, right? That your core is as conditioned as possible. And core is a little bit more endurance trained once we get to know that muscle group. It's because we use it so much, right? But yeah, so chest on the anterior, biceps, you got your core, or we just call it abs for the front part, even to split it up, and then your quads, and that pretty much breaks down that front. And again, couple of different lifts for each one, and sets and reps can range.
Biceps too, that would go with your
biceps. Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for your input and insight, Jesse. And the thing about all of these different formulas and ways to put workouts together, there's pros and cons to all of them. One potential con of this is the overlapping of using muscles, because when you're working your back, you're also working your biceps. So you're going to have a little overlap. And so you got to really be paying attention to your body to make this work and get your intensity level right. So let's come back and we'll talk about a 5-day split. So thanks for your input, Jesse. Thanks for being with us.
Yep. Thank you.